Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. And due to technology eating my guest file, I'm going to let my guest take it away and introduce himself. And we're going to do a continuation of his previous interview. And we're going to do a little bit of an update. So I'm going to let my guest take it away.
Hello, my name is Brandon Ryan. I am 32 years old and have been living with cerebral palsy all my life. I am a recent college graduate and founder of an organization called Adaptive Defense Methods, which is dedicated to teaching functional self-defense to people with adaptive needs. And I am a motivational speaker and author of 2 books. And am currently...
A man of many hats.
Yes.
That's what you are, Brandon. A man of many hats. That's what you are. And quite frankly, for those of you who do not know my story, I also have cerebral palsy, so cerebral palsy is near and my heart. But why did you, and I know you mentioned this in the first interview, but why did you start your self-defense company? I mean, that sounds amazing to me.
Yeah. I was raised in martial arts since probably the age of 6 or 8 years old. My dad was just a huge catalyst behind that. And the main reason I started my self-defense company, Adaptive Defense Methods, was because I wanted people with adaptive needs to be able to defend themselves or take care of themselves in some manner, regardless of whether they were ever like physically attacked in some way. I wanted them to be able to have a functional skill set that didn't require a lot of fine motor skills and was able to help give them a reason to get up every day and face life and learn to grow stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually in some cases.
Well, that's a great way to put it, that you wanted them to have a way to protect themselves. And even though it's a way to protect yourself, it's still a good way of self-growth.
Right.
And now, when you say you're a recent college grad, congratulations on that. I am quietly studying journalism, studying the fall myself. So I'm doing that as part of my, as part of this podcast, actually. I've been self-trained for so many years that I'm finally going back to school and getting the training I actually need. But to get back to you, what did you get your degree in?
I got my bachelor's degree in psychology. I just graduated. Yeah, I graduated a little over 2 weeks ago.
Geez.
Yeah, I mean, I've already got like a really good job that stems around working with kids that have suffered abuse in some way. And so while I'm doing
that's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations. I know the struggles firsthand of going back to college. And see, this is why I go back. I do what I do, because I get to interview rock stars like you. And so what are you planning to do? What are you planning on doing with that degree other than your job?
I'm honestly already doing what I had planned to do, getting out of college, and that's like working with kids in some capacity. Right now, I just have a base level job of answering phones and monitoring like security cameras to make sure our area is safe. Mainly, I get to make sure that kids come in and they're comfortable. So I get to actually have fun and play with the kids and make sure they have like a snack and water and everything like that. So it's been really good. And while I'm doing that, I'm just waiting to see how my student loans can be like forgiven or not. And then if that's the case, I'm going to pursue my master's degree in child psych as well.
That's right, because you work in a service industry where student loans can be forgiven if you can't pay them. Because that's right, I forgot about that little fact that if you work in the service industry like teaching or psychology, they have a trick, you guys, that you can actually pay off your student loans, and that goes for anyone disabled or not. And because, as Landon, as you know, student loans can help, grants can help, but the cost of education now can only pay for a pencil, let alone these textbooks. So, yeah. Well, I hope that you get that student loan forgiveness, because student loans are quite high now. And so, what has been your, in the self-defense business, what has been your best entrepreneurial moment?
That's actually a really good question, and I really don't know. I mean, we've had really cool moments where people have written into us directly and said that our page has really helped us or helped them in some way, and that just helps me continue on in what I'm doing. I know that like our Facebook page is growing by leaps and bounds every week, so it's really good to know that we're having a really good, healthy, and positive response, not just to people with special needs, but also able-bodied people as well. Love what we do, so we get a wide spectrum of people interacting with us.
And it's amazing because anyone could be attacked and anyone could be abused, and a lot of the abuse in the special needs community comes from the classroom and comes from the home, unfortunately. And so those who don't know self-defense skills are more helpless than those who do.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got into this, and I know you said this in the previous interview, and if you guys want to go back and listen to the previous interview, it's on my website by now, Butterflies of Wisdom. And you said this in the previous interview, you picked the job because you were passionate about it, and now your passion is making you money, or is it not? Or are you just still doing it as a passion?
I'm making money doing my passion is working with kids. So it's been great. And once I get my master's tackled, I'll be able to broaden the spectrum in which I can impact the lives of kids and even parents to some degree.
Yes, because the parents need help too. And what is your favorite audiobook? Now I say audiobook, because I know you can't hold a book. Maybe you can, but what is your favorite audiobook? It doesn't have to be necessarily a self-defense book. It has to be a book that you go back to time and time again.
My favorite audiobook is called A Place for Healing, and that's by Joni Eareckson Tada. That book,
A Place for Healing.
A Place for Healing by Joni Eareckson Tada. Basically, it's an autobiographical book. Joni was, born an able-bodied person, but during a nighttime swim, she jumped off a pretty high level rock and then fell into the water and hit her neck on some other rocks below and ended up paralyzed from the neck down. And so basically that the book is about her going through like various depression moments and dealing with anger and bitterness and in turn finding hope in the midst of all that darkness.
So, okay. Now I'm going to ask you a semi-idiot question here. But one, how severe is your CP as compared to mine? And two, because people ask me this question all the time, how do you deal with depression and how do you stay so positive?
Well, okay, first of all, my depression, my cerebral palsy is mainly affected on my right side of my body.
Okay.
And it affects my legs, so balancing is tough. I walk with crutches. I have far more mobility than most people that have CP, and I think from my perspective and teaching a doctor's self-defense to people, especially through means of video, it can be really hard, I think, from an outsider's perspective to look at someone like me that has that much mobility and then look at someone who doesn't and then say, okay, how can I then do what this guy's doing if I don't have that much mobility or the same mobility? But I think the cool thing about what we do is that there's always adaptations and modifications for things based on...
Yes. Yes, there are.
Yeah, based on a
modify basically anything now.
Yeah, right. Based on the person's mobility and dexterity. And as far as the depression goes, I've lived with that for over the last 10 years. I'm on medication for depression, and I've seen multiple therapists and counselors for what I deal with. I have anxiety as well. But to answer your question as in regards to how I stay so positive, I think a large credit to that is my faith in God and how much he loves me on a daily basis, and that through him and my family, I've been given this really strong heart and mind that is always ready and willing and able to persevere through a situation. And so I guess part of it also beyond that is just getting off my butt and going to the gym and exercising.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that because if you let cerebral palsy overcome you, you're going to be a mess. There's no turning back. So that's why Brian and I look out like this. Tomorrow people call me a gym rat, and then people say, "Lynn, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this?" And quite frankly, I put working out in my schedule as a meeting, and everyone knows it's a meeting, and everyone knows they can't get a hold of me because my gym has a policy, which I think is a wonderful policy, of no cell phones. And so everyone knows when I go in and work out, they can't get a hold of me. And so that's why we work out so hard, because we don't want cerebral palsy to come and attack us.
Right. And I can really appreciate the no cell phone policy. I think that would be very beneficial in some regards, but also like because our current society is very social media friendly. I know that I like to post videos of my workouts and everything, but I definitely can respect, the no cell phone policy. And, honestly, I think that people, regardless of the severity of CP, can do something to make themselves stronger in any way. If you look at the amount of adaptive athletes today and all the obstacles that we're overcoming and things that we're doing that people thought were never possible, I think that just limits our excuses for not, getting out of our heads and doing something. I don't care what it is.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. I think, Brian, you stole my plate on that one, because I am coming to find out that disabled people, if the advocates don't encourage them on getting out and getting on a bike or doing self-defense or just simply walking, they would sit on a bus all day and play video games, honestly.
Right. And not that that's inherently wrong in and of itself, but I don't care what it is. If you have to just, sit in your room and work with resistance bands of some kind, then do that. But every day you got to try and do something.
Well, I definitely agree with you, and my fan base definitely agrees with you. So, Brian, how can people get in contact with you and your self-defense company, and how can people start teaching themselves self-defense?
Okay. So you can get a hold of me at Adaptive Defense Methods. It's just at Adaptive Defense Methods at Facebook.com. You can like our page, and we have close to a little over 100, maybe close to 100 videos on our page, and anybody can access them, and they can start learning just on their own, and I'm always easy to reach. So if they have any questions, they can contact us via our Facebook page, or we have an email address, which is adaptivedefensemethods@gmail.com. There you can book us for seminars and whatnot. And so at our Facebook page, you can now get merchandise like T-shirts and hoodies as well. So Again, that's Adaptive Defense Methods at Facebook.com.
And before I let Brian go and do some more incredible work, my God, man of many hats there, I'm going to let Brian turn the mic on me and ask me a couple of questions about anything, whether it be cerebral palsy related or not.
Yeah. I guess the one of the main questions that popped up in my head for you is, I know last time that we were going to do part 2 of this interview, you had back surgery. And so I just wanted to know how that went and how the recovery process was for you.
Well, the good news is back surgery never happened. The okay news is that they gave me a back brace, and they gave me extended PT, of course, and now I'm completely healthy, thank you very much for the back brace, because I'm not slumping over in a chair. So,
That's awesome.
to answer your question, the surgery never happened because of reasons. They thought it was too high risk, and me becoming paralyzed was at 90%, and I'm like, nope. Been there, done that in 2006, and that's all another podcast in itself. And for you guys to read more about that, you can go find my book, I Come a Win, and I Come a Win was my autobiography, and I fully extend what happened in 2006 and why I was trying to avoid scoliosis surgery for the second time. But if it needed to be done, it needed to be done. But they gave me a back brace and sent me on my merry way. So I also think that working out helped my stability of my back before
Right.
the back brace.
Right. That's great. I mean, I'm sure that the back surgery could improve you in some way, but I am fully over surgery of any kind. So I'm glad that you did.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm fully over surgeries. Me too. And if you guys know CT inside and out, you would understand how many surgeries Brian and I have had to save our bodies.
Yes. And so my second question was, you mentioned going back to school. How is that going, and how much further shall you?
I will be doing my associate's degree and possibly my bachelor's degree in the fall, depending on how things work out. If I get straight A's and the occasional B, I will get my bachelor's degree. If I don't get straight A's and just barely scrape by with my associate's degree, then I'll stop going to school and do all that and quit doing all that jazz. But I begin that process of my journalistic career in the fall.
Nice. That sounds amazing.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. And I will keep you guys updated as far as everything goes now. And I've quickly discovered that voc rehab in different states could help with schooling. I quickly discovered that one yesterday, and I'm like, oh, really? You can? So that's helpful too. That if you and here's another thing I wanted to tell you guys, and Brian will certainly agree with me. If you guys just tap into your resources, I don't care if you're disabled or not, but especially when you're disabled, your resources would be amazing to help.
Right. Voc Rehab has been an immense help in my academic journey. They not only help with finances for college, but they also help with assistive technology. So they got me a new computer. They got me a new scooter, or not a new scooter, but my first scooter, so I get around campus. And Voc Rehab is just an amazing asset. Furthermore, and I'll just say this: if someone with special needs can get both Voc Rehab and the full Pell Grant, which I think varies by state, but the Pell Grant and Voc Rehab together, depending on what kind of college you go to, and whether you can get scholarships as well, it helps knock out tuition immensely.
Yep. I'm on the Pell Grant, and of course they will give it to you whether you're disabled or not. But I'm using Voc Rehab just to help with the technology and So those two put together are amazing resources.
Right.
So if you guys want those disabled listeners out there want to contact their own Voc Rehabs and just figure out what they can do for you, that's also amazing. Also, if you, as I said, they will give you a Pell Grant, disabled or not. So if you guys are thinking, I want to go back to college, but I don't know how to do it, look into the Pell Grant, which is the U.S. government. And, of course, the student loans have to be paid back unless you're in the service industry where they can give you loan forgiveness. Quite frankly, I just learned about that the other day, and because I'm a teacher, I could possibly get my loans forgiven when the time comes. But other than that, I think Brian and I are trying to set you guys up for success, and I will have Brian's information in the show notes, and then we can do from there, and then we can just see what happens. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in and sharing this experience with Brian and I. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
The host has joined the conference.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, host.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Host, I love it. I love it. And I know this is a pretty penny for you because I know you're calling in from the UK.
I am indeed, yes.
You are indeed. And the reason why I contacted you is because I want to talk to you about your books.
Yeah, which I always like doing. That's always fun to talk about.
You always like doing. So how this is going to work is I'm going to obviously hit the record button, obviously introduce the show, and then I'm going to let you take it away because I can't seem to find anyone's bios today. Let me see if I can find yours. My last guest I cannot find, but let me see if I can track yours down. I know. But it's because I grew up on people's bios because of my disability. I tend to let them explain a little bit of what they do at the beginning of the show.
Sounds fine to me. Sounds very sensible.
Sounds very sensible. Okay, let's do this.
Now. Yeah. Well, so, I mean, I'm a self-published author, as you've seen. I've been an author for 4 years now. Before that, I had a very traditional career in